And Telemundo did not show.
It's okay.
So we have these two, so I'm going to put these on you.
Sure.
Now we'll clip this on you. And one more clip. Same side.
Same side. I'm not going to come off lopsided because of the weight. I hope not. You know, if we would be doing this Monday, it'd be like that gentleman right there, all masked up. Yeah? Wow. Since when?
Ago maybe, but we just brought our people back one time, probably a month ago, right? So we try to live that way for most of the year anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you for coming on down. And I'll try my best to freestyle because that's what I do. But if I look down, just know that I'm listening to the experts. All right. So.
Yep. Cool. All around. I wasn't expecting small groups. I guess it's just us. Walk us through your announcement this week.
Sure.
Masks are coming.
Sure. Masks are coming back. Before that, I'm sure everybody's well aware that we have a vaccination mandate from the city. I have engaged with Mayor Hancock, and I salute Mayor Hancock because we've been able to communicate and also looking forward to collaborate. So that's first and foremost. So DPS staff, just know that we will be supporting you during this effort. And thank you for the city for taking into account the health and safety of all of us, right? Those who we serve and those who live here. So that's first. Number two, in terms of our mask requirement, we listened. We read emails that came in, and while I was out and about during this listening tour, and also our internal folks. And I'm going to say that it was a toss-up in terms of 50%, those who wanted to mask, and those who wanted to not mask for a lot of other reasons. Based on the vaccinations, it's shifted tremendously, right? So if the city is taking this strong approach, it makes sense for us to, again, follow the guidance, follow the science, but also follow suit, if that makes sense. Make sure that our students are safe and secure. That's our first priority. In education, I think that we've lost that in terms of safety and security as a given, a norm. And let me explain. I remember the days in which we would send our students to school, our loved ones, our children, and we never questioned, at least not in every community, whether they were going to be safe and secure. The past 18 months have really resurrected that, right? As not as a given, as a question and a deliverable, right? So we have to make sure that we deliver. And universal masking is the way to do it because it's the most restrictive and it allows us flexibility to be in concert with the city. And I have to say it, we're not going to be like the other districts who are going to backpedal, right? We're not going to flip-flop. We don't want any uncertainty out in our community. So we're starting here, and we are hopeful that we're going to continue to be less restrictive. But as long as we could be in person, elbow to elbow, doing what we do best, that's the victory.
Okay. Start date for the mask policy, when does that start?
Starts this Monday,
Okay.
the
So
9th.
Teachers will be slowly returning to classrooms. People are doing extracurriculars, even though class hasn't started yet. That will begin on Monday.
Correct.
But no end date on it because you want that to be flexible?
No end date, right? We're going to be flexible. And if and when the city puts out any communication regarding masks, we plan to be really in sequence with them, like we will be in sequence when it comes to vaccination naturally. So no end date. The 9th for all DPS staff and students, those students who are engaged in person, the small amount who are left in summer school activities, but all of us as well. So if this was happening Monday, I'll be sporting something possibly black or gray to make sure it goes. Right?
Is there any real firm structure to how you will consistently reevaluate? Because what I'm hearing is maybe it's not every 2 weeks we're going to do it. We're just going to kind of stay in touch with the city bosses. That's kind of how your reevaluation process.
That would be ideal, right? If we're in concert with the city. Absent of the city making any announcement, What we'll continue is to engage with our senior leadership team and our medical experts. So Dr. Berman, Dr. Federico, and Dr. McDonald, who have been incredibly invaluable in their expertise. So that'll be our gauge, right? The continuous brains that we pick. But ideally, if we're in sync with the city, then we're in sync with the city when it comes to vaccination and masking.
Okay. You said on your listening tour you heard a lot of opinions.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you will, I'm sure, continue to hear a lot of opinions. In your role, that's kind of a given. Your response to families who are going to be really angry about this call?
Well, I have already responded to some, right? And only a few. I have to stress the fact that I think folks were either anticipating this or they accepted it, right? But for the few who are really set, although we have our remote option that really set for the year, I ask you to really reach out to your school community or to our district office to see how we can support. What we do not want, just like we don't want staff to go elsewhere or to be frustrated in terms of vaccinations, we don't want our students to go elsewhere or be frustrated. We want you to be engaged, ideally in person, if not, virtually.
Okay. You kind of covered this. This extends to extracurriculars if we're talking indoors, right?
Yes,
Basketball
correct.
game or volleyball game, things like that. This would extend to that kind of stuff.
That is correct. So this extends to everything that's indoor activities. When we're outdoors, it's optional.
And then on the vaccination front, so that deadline is the end of September, correct?
September 30th.
Okay. Do you have a loose? Where are you guys now with your staff in vaccination?
That's a great question. We do not know, because internally in DPS, we do not monitor vaccinations. Now we will have to. What needs to be determined is if we're going to collect that data, are we going to be the conduit to the city? So we're working that out with the mayor's office.
Okay. And then only because another district did this, so it's on my mind. Aurora had mentioned they're going to ask students who are vaccinated. They have, when it comes to sports, that's the requirement. You either have to be vaccinated or you're going to get tested every 2 weeks. This applies to athletics. You guys considering anything like that for your extracurriculars, your kids, or not?
Well, that's a great way to go about it, so I commend that district, and it is part of the conversation. So we are considering, and we'll be sure to publicize the route that we take when it comes to our students.
Okay, so at this point, nothing to announce as far
That
as...
is correct. At this point, nothing to announce in terms of our students' vaccination
And then I
expectations.
know the city order about the vaccinations does not extend to the kids, but when it comes to kids, are you guys collecting at all any sort of rate for the, like if a parent, I don't know if you keep that on vaccination records in
Yeah.
the school office. What's the deal with that?
We do not keep any vaccination records for our students. However, we have engaged in a holistic conversation as a senior leadership team in terms of immunizations. And that covers the gamut. Of course, COVID is part of the conversation, but measles, rubella, and everything else as well. So we're in conversations, but nothing expected from students as of yet.
Okay, I am dominating. Do you guys have anything? Okay. I think my last question then would just be, and you referenced this too, you know, some districts aren't going to go as far as you guys are going. That will be a chief criticism you probably field, and where the current government, you know, not city, but just big government, CDC, whatever, anybody's requirement.
In terms of masking?
Masking,
Okay.
sorry,
All right.
masking. So I just, again, if somebody's, you know, criticism of this, or their question is, you're going further than people to say you have to go. People is broad, right? I'm not saying
Yep.
your city is dictating this too, but just overall your thoughts on that.
Well, I accept the feedback and even the criticism. What I can say is our victory is because our students are going to be in person, right, and not socially distanced if they're masking. So I'll take that over any other criticism that's going to prevent that learning environment from happening. And I can't stress enough that we're starting here, and hopefully we'll become less restrictive in terms of our mask usage, as opposed to some who've been forced to backpedal because of what's happening in their communities.
Do more restrictive policy, do you worry about, when you announce a more restrictive policy, do you worry about personnel, teachers leaving, staff leaving?
I heard what you're saying. So am I concerned in terms about personnel and our approach being more restrictive if there's going to be some employee flight? Of course, it's part of the consideration of things that we have to be worried about. But the reception has been, in these elevators, high-fiving. Great decision, Doc. Great decision. It was right by all of us. And this is even here when we don't have students. So yes, initially, when we were contemplating and grappling with the decision, right now it's proven to be the right decision.
Do you consult with other superintendents or other school districts on what they're finding, what they're seeing in terms of data?
often. So we have weekly meetings and we have, I guess, casual texts, if we want to call it that, in which we share our concerns, but also what our districts are doing. So I've been well aware in terms of what's been happening in the regional districts. And a lot of folks want to know what Denver's doing, right? If not all of them, right? So we held out as much as we could because we wanted to be informed in our decision. And it was perfect timing, quite frankly, after the vaccination. So I know that's more extreme in comparison to others. And I can't speak for the others, but I'm sure that some are wishing that maybe they had the circumstances that we had play out.
So you feel the weight of your decision, being as we're the largest in the state, your decision may affect the decisions of other districts?
I think that's expected, naturally, yes. Denver being the city and the most populous and the largest school district, there's a lot of folks who look to see what's happening here, not only because of the fact that we're the largest, because we influence a lot of what happens around the metro area and beyond. And that's the school district, and the same will apply to the city of Denver. Considering what happened on Monday, I'm wondering what other cities will do as well.
So earlier you said you had kind of a 50-50 split in terms of feedback, those who support the mask mandate and those that don't. So are you saying that you're allowing politics to play in with science?
No, so it has nothing to do with politics. See, I'm a civil servant, and I'm not a politician nor an elected official. So I have a duty to make sure that I connect and hear the voices of all our community members. So science is rooted in our decision making, hence why we engage with Dr. Berman, Dr. Federico, Dr. McDonald. However, I would be remiss and I would be a critical mistake if I do not engage with the community members who I'm serving. So it's not politics, it's really community empowerment.
And you said you were going to reevaluate every 2 weeks, is that what you said earlier?
No, that's what she said. That's what she
I
said.
didn't know if they would reevaluate in a couple weeks. It sounds like you're not really putting a firm structure on
No.
how often the reevaluation happens. Okay.
That's our norm now, and we will continuously engage with our medical professionals, which we do on a weekly basis, to see if any shift is potential. It's all possible, but we do not anticipate anything because we have yet to engage. So we have our students returning on the 23rd. So from here to the 23rd and possibly beyond, we'll be universally masking.
So when you make a...
¿Cómo está?
Aquí para el ministro, por favor, tengo 3 preguntas puntuales.
Sí, dígame.
La primera es, ¿cuáles son las nuevas medidas para el regreso a clases?
Well, sobre las mascarillas, todos los estudiantes y el personal tienen que tener mascarillas durante el día cuando están juntos, solamente cuando salen afuera se la pueden quitar.
¿Desde cuándo empiezan a aplicarse eso?
Comienza este lunes, el día 9. Yo sé que los niños regresan el 23, entonces para los estudiantes el 23, para nosotros este lunes.
¿Ha considerado exigir que los estudiantes mayores de 12 años deban estar vacunados?
¿De nuevo?
¿Ha considerado que los
Ya.
estudiantes mayores de 12 años
Claro que sí. Sugiero que todos se vacunen si están elegibles, por respeto a la decisión de todos. Yo sé que nosotros como adultos y profesionales ya tenemos por el alcalde y el orden que puso este lunes. Para los estudiantes que están elegibles, por favor, si se pueden vacunar, se vacunen para todos nosotros y salud de la ciudad.
¿Los profesores también va a ser una exigencia para los profesores que estén vacunados o todavía?
Sí, por el orden del Departamento de Salud y el alcalde, Hancock, comenzando inmediatamente, yo creo, hasta el 30 de septiembre, todo el personaje de DPS tiene que estar vacunado.
Perfecto. Por último, ¿qué le dice a las personas que no están de acuerdo con que sus hijos usen el tapabocas?
Yo sé que es difícil, pero yo sé que nosotros podemos llegar a las metas de cada estudiante si no lo mandan a la escuela. Y mandándolo a la escuela, tienen que ponerse su cubrebocas, yo digo mascarillas, se tienen que poner las mascarillas y así el aprendizaje va a ser mucho más mejor para los estudiantes y nunca se sabe lo que va a pasar el mes que viene, entonces así es que vamos a comenzar, pero posiblemente lo podemos aliviar, por así que vamos a comenzar y es necesario para mí que ellos estén presentes en la escuela para que los profesores puedan hacer lo que ellos hacen muy bien y enseñar.
¿Algo más que desea agregar?
No, muchas gracias por el apoyo y todo que me han dicho, sobre la información. Muchas gracias porque eso me informó para tomar esta decisión. Muchas gracias. I'm good. I can take it. I don't see the right out there. So the reason why you see those flowers there,
I heard.
you heard.
How many years?
9 married, 14 altogether, I think. I can't get that wrong, right?
This is not on the record. Where are you going to dinner tonight?
Well, I'm thinking Elway's a Shanahan, but here's the issue that there's a lot of folks who came with my wife from New York because she just arrived. I don't know if I want to pay a bill for 8 people, right?